YouTube, starting up on Rumble. Are you live?
Yeah.
All right. Good morning, hello, and welcome to This Date in History, aka TDH. This show is about what happened to date throughout the annals of recorded history. Join us as we delve into yesteryear, not only for interesting and important happenings, but to possibly even answer questions you don't realize you have. Anyway, I am Xander.
King's Refuge.
And you are you, viewer. Thank you so much for watching. Today is... What is today? It's been so long. Thursday. Yeah, that's right. September 12th, 2024. Yes, we missed the Munich massacre, the 1984 incident at the Olympics in which the Palestinian team killed a bunch of the Israeli team. We missed 9/11 yesterday, and a lot of stuff. In between, of course. And there's been an insurmountable amount of history that has passed that we couldn't cover because of the heat wave and everything, but we will talk about that all on the talk show this upcoming Sunday. As for now, we're coming out swinging. Good Sir King, do you want to start us off in 490 BC while you're checking your headphones? Oh, all right. Well, all right. Are you there?
Yeah, I'm just getting my mic set up here.
All right. Good Sir King, do you want to start us off?
Yes. My levels. 490 BC, traditional date of the Battle of Marathon, where a small Athenian force defeats the Persian Empire.
Yes, and for those who do not know, this battle, as I said, we came out swinging, after our 2-week hiatus with this battle here. This is one of the greatest events for Western civilization. This is when, if anybody's seen 300, the Spartans and all that stuff, Xerxes' father, and I think they even mentioned, they talk about this in the sequel, but Xerxes' father tried to invade Greece by a naval invasion landing at Thermopylae. And the Greeks eventually were victorious, and then they sent a runner to, I believe, Athens or whatever, and that distance he ran is what inspired the race, the marathon. You go on the marathon, you go on this, you go on that, the Boston Marathon, the New York Marathon. It's all based off of the length of distance this runner ran, and when he reached his destination, he was out of breath, panting, and you can only say one word, Nike, which in Greek means victory, and that is where the shoe company gets their name from. So, yeah, this is a major event. Anyway, let's move on up. What else? We have a whole show to do. 22 pages on the script today. Let's go.
1396 Crusaders under Earl of Nevers reaches Nicopolis.
Ooh, Crusaders. All right.
There's a never joke in there somewhere. It's bouncing around in my head.
Huh.
1624 first submarine publicly tested in London on the Thames for King James I.
Yep, and that's our thumbnail here for today's show. This is a mock-up of what that submarine was surmised to look like. And there are, of course, other mythological instances of submarines, like they made not really a submarine, but more like a see-through diving bell, so to speak, like a half shell type thing. Like we have them today, made of plastics and whatnot. But they made this for Alexander the Great way back in the day. I think it was off the coast of Alexandria, and he was the first human to actually be able to, go underwater with a device and look at things underwater, like according to legend. But this is the farthest away we actually have documents on, which is still pretty cool. 1624 submarines. Another couple of hundred years during the not even 100 years and change during the American Revolution. I believe there was the Turtle, and then during the Civil War there was the Hunley. So. Anyway, moving on up to 1662, John Flamsteed saw a partial solar eclipse. This stirred his interest in astronomy. So, this Yeah, here we go. John Flamsteed. So whoever he was, because that name is not familiar to me. Oh, he was the first astronomer royal. Okay, that's why he's important. The first official state astronomer of England. If I have the astronomer royal's purpose correct. 1662 as well. Actually, no, we already got this one. So let me delete this from the script here. 1683, Austro-Ottoman War, Battle of Vienna. Several European armies joined forces to defeat the Ottoman Empire. So we have a coalition here. 1695, New York Jews petitioned Governor Dongan for religious liberties. I hope they got him. So anyway, let's move on up to 1700s. What do we got?
1703, Emperor Leopard first ends contract on Spanish heritage.
That made me wonder why.
There's contacts on
Yeah.
Spanish heritage.
Well, it's just telling me about Leopold the First. It's not giving me anything. Well, here, War of the Spanish Succession. Huh?
What's that mean?
Yeah, I'm trying to find that out here. The closest thing I could find is the War of Spanish Succession. The War of the Spanish Succession was a European great power conflict between 1701 and 1714. The immediate cause was the death of the childless Charles II of Spain. So we spoke about this somewhere around last time we were doing shows a couple weeks ago, about how there was no heir to the Spanish throne and a power vacuum was created, so a whole conflict. So Leopold the First, if I'm reading this right, he ends contacts on Spanish heritage because they're all eating each other to get the throne. So he's just like, you know what? I don't want to be involved. Go have fun without me, essentially, if I'm reading this correctly. If anybody knows more about this or they're wanting to look this up, please let us know in the comments section. That'd be fantastic. What else do we have here?
1751, Amsterdam refuses establishment of Jewish ghetto.
So not even a ghetto, not even, a couple shanty towns, to have them have a roof over their head. That's not very nice of Amsterdam. Oh.
What'd they do?
I guess went somewhere else.
No, I mean, what the Jews do.
Well, no, somewhere else. The Jews, like they must have been.
They're not even allowed a ghetto. Why?
I mean, there has been legit hatred and animosity towards Jews, but I mean, it takes two to tango and one to start. So I mean, what started this ball rolling? Of this always happens, to the Jewish people. Like, what keeps happening? It's not just because they're just there and people just hate them. Something happens. So, what else do we got here?
1755, Giacomo Casanova is sentenced to 5 years imprisonment in the Venice without trial for affront to religion and common decency.
Yeah, we all know about the name Casanova. He's an adventurer, writer, and famous lover. It's kind of like if somebody's watching you mac on your girlfriend a little too long, you're like, okay, Casanova, let's go, come on. He was essentially the Quagmire.
Stole one too many wives.
Yeah, probably.
I think. Stole one too many wives, and they're like, oh, you gotta do something about this Casanova, dude.
Yep. 1758, French astronomer Charles Messier mistakenly identified the Crab Nebula and began his Messier catalog. Oh, well, that's cool. Well, not cool that he mistakenly stuff, but he's still doing things. The Crab Nebula, that's pretty known nebula right there. 1759, British soldiers captured the town of Quebec up in Canada. Quebec is not in British Columbia. It's in Ontario? No. Huh. You know what? I'm going to look this up. Where is Quebec? Where is Quebec? It's in eastern Canada. I know that.
This new incredible fire.
There's another fire happening?
No, I don't know what that was. This commercial.
I'm just like, we have enough of them out here.
I'm just trying to pull up my Rumble here.
Well, let's see. What is QC? Well, the whole thing is Quebec. Yeah, the province of Quebec. This is the town of Quebec. That's why my brain's not working well, because Quebec is the name of the province. I guess there's a Quebec in the Quebec. That's weird. Anyway, 1776, one of the greatest years of all time. Nathan Hale left Harlem Heights Camp, 127th Street, for a spy mission. Ooh. And I think this guy, he ended up getting caught. Yeah, executed by hanging. So he was he was caught, but he is the state hero of Connecticut. This Nathan Hale, I've heard of him before. So, 1787, U.S. statesman George Mason suggested the addition of the Bill of Rights to the Constitution, modeled on previous state declarations, but the motion was defeated. So, while they were still trying to figure out, between the end of the war and the actual formation of us, formal as the United States of America, there was about 10 years of diplomacy and trying to figure out, we started this idea, that didn't work, we started that idea. So, this is when the idea of the Bill of Rights, as I just read, was proposed. And they turned it down. That's pretty wild there. What do we got here in 1789?
All right, give me a moment here.
All right. We have Jean-Paul Marat published the first issue of his radical newspaper, Les Publicités Parisiennes, later called L'Ami du Peuple, the friend of the people, in Paris. All right. And this guy, he was a revolutionary and journalist, so this was leading up to the one of the... Because I'm not sure how many revolutions they've had in France. I know they've had a lot of them over there, but if it wasn't for France, there would not have been a successful American Revolution, and there would not have been an eventual USA Today. But by extension, because of the success of us, then they decided to have their own little revolution. So then this is 1789. So this is leading into the beginning of that era right there. 1792, a court-martial began for instigators of the mutiny on the Bounty on board HMS Duke in Portsmouth Harbor, presided by Vice Admiral Samuel Hood. Yes, the Bounty aboard the HMS Duke. There's a whole movie on here, about it and everything. Actually, we gotta watch this at some point. The Bounty, mutiny on the Bounty. Let me look this up here real quick. Oh, go ahead.
Yeah. No, go ahead. I was just repeating what you said so I can write it down here in movies.
I already got it here. Mutiny on the Bounty. Well, that's actually a movie. That was the historical event I clicked on. Here we go. This is what I want. The film, 1962. I'm going to add this into the... I'm going to unplug my thing because my other monitor is giving me lip, so give me a minute. But I got to put this in the Discord. One moment. Oop, hold on a second. So I gotta move this over here. I gotta find the correct channel. Movie nights. Post this here. Turn on my camera. There we go. All right. All right. So, good Sir King. That is not what I wanted. Hold on a second. I don't even know where we're at anymore right now. Oh, 1824.
1824, Moreton Bay Penal Settlement, established at Red Cliff, Queen's Island, with about 30 convicts. Modern Brisbane, Australia.
Well, happy birthday, Brisbane! We all know where Brisbane... Well, I know where Brisbane is. Well, I think. I don't know. There's Sydney, there's Brisbane, there's, New South Wales, that's a province. Melbourne, of course, that's where the Melbourne Shuffle comes from, I believe. I'm not entirely sure. But yeah, pretty cool. 1829?
1829, Greek War of Independence ends after 8 years and 6 months.
That's a long war right there.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
1829, Greek War of Independence ends. Oh, wait, we did that. 1848, Switzerland becomes a federal state.
Ooh. That's pretty interesting. So now they're federated. All right. 1857, 423 people died when the steamship SS Central America, the Ship of Gold, sunk in a hurricane off Cape Romaine, South Carolina, carrying tons of gold and bricks from the California Gold Rush. This was rediscovered later in 1988. All right, gold. Hey, like, you know, there's money to be made in shipwreck salvage and such if you know where to find stuff. And 1862, Battle of Harper's Ferry, Virginia. Stonewall Jackson's Confederate force attacks and later captures the Union-held town. The Union-held town of Harper's Ferry. All right. What do we got here in 1874?
1874, the District of Maple Ridge, British Columbia, Canada is founded.
All right. Maple Ridge sounds sticky. You know?
Yeah.
But hey, you know, at least you won't have to fall off that cliff. Unlike Guts' girlfriend, you know that lady. Just, you know, keep her away from cliffs, man. Like.
In 1874, the District of Maple Ridge, Columbia. We already said that thing.
Yep.
1876, Belgian King Leopold II opens Brussels Geographic Conference with 40 invited, mostly geographic experts, votes to establish the International African Association.
Ooh. The IAA. Well, let's look that up. What was the IAA? Let's see here. Where that? All right. The International African Convention, also known as the International Association for the Exploration and Civilization of Central Africa, was a front organization established by the guest at the Brussels Geographic Conference of 1876, as we just read. An event hosted by King Leopold II of Belgium, the association was used by King Leopold ostensibly to further his purpose, his purportedly altruistic and humanitarian projects in the area of Central Africa. The area was to become Leopold's privately controlled Congo-Free State. So, you know, the Democratic Republic of the Congo and stuff, you know, areas in and around that place, I believe, is the geographical location focused on by this event. The area was to become Leopold's privately controlled Congo-Free State. As I just said, King Leopold volunteered space in Brussels for the International African Association's headquarters, and there were to be national committees of the association set up all in the participating countries, as well as an international committee. Leopold was elected by acclamation as the International Committee's first chairman, but said he would serve for 1 year only so as the chairmanship could rotate among people from different countries. Dude, this is awesome, you know? But at the same time, you know, on the surface level, this looks good. Keep in mind, this is during the time where, you know, they could have been trying to make things better so that way they can come in and take over, you know? Like, a lot of conquering stuff happening. 1878, the Cleopatra Needle was installed in London. And there's like a whole thing about obelisks all over the world. You know, they have them in London right here, as we just read in Cleopatra Needle. That was actually, you know, some obelisk involving Cleopatra that was taken from Memphis or Cairo. I don't know where it was from. But, you know, there's ancient Egyptian obelisks, you know, in New York City. I've seen them with my own eyes. I've touched them with my own hands. You know? Yeah. Like, you know, it's not, you know, they have them in museums and such, but they also have them just out on the grounds. I think there's one over by the Washington Monument, which is a giant obelisk. So, you know, there's a whole conspiracy behind all that. 1885 here, the highest football score recorded in any first-class soccer match. Arbroath 36 to Bon Accord 0 in Scotland. 1890, Cecil Rhodes, colonists, founded Fort Salisbury, which is now Harare in Zimbabwe. All right, happy birthday, Zimbabwe. We have a lot of...
Happy birthday.
Yeah, this is our third founding, right? Like third city, you know, created or something. 1895, Annie Londonderry, a.k.a. Annie Kapotsky, arrived in Chicago to complete a first around-the-world trip by a woman on a bicycle in 15 months and collects her $10,000 prize. What?
What?
How the hell did she go around the world in 1895 on a bicycle in 15 months? How is that even possible?
How does anybody go around the world on a fucking bicycle?
Well, I mean, today you can get one of those bicycles that can go on water. They have those, but I'm not sure. I don't think they counted water. I think they just transported her from continent to continent. Then she
Yeah,
just,
yeah.
I'm not sure how they did it, but
I'm sure. I'm just
yeah,
a lot. That's a lot of bicycle.
yeah. 1897, Battle of Saragari. Thousands of Orkai and Efidi tribesmen overwhelmed and killed at great cost to themselves 21 British Raw Sikh soldiers, led by Havildar Ishar Singh at Tira, northwest frontier province in British India. All right, so thousands versus 21. Well, so they killed 21 of these soldiers. I don't know this exact event, but there was like a lot, like the Zulu War. Well, that was in Africa, not in the Battle of Saragari. Well, let's see here. It was a last stand battle fought before the Tira campaign between the the British Indian Empire and Afghan tribesmen. On September 12, 1897, an estimated between 12 to 24,000 Orizaki and Afridi tribesmen were seen near Gorga at Samuna Suk and around Saragari, cutting off Fort Gulston from Fort Lockhart. The Afghans attacked the outpost of Saragari, where thousands of them swarmed and surrounded the fort, preparing to assault it. Led by Havildar Ishar Singh, the 21 soldiers in the fort, all of whom were Sikhs, refused to surrender and were wiped out in a last stand. The post was recaptured 2 days later by another British Indian contingent. So yeah, I have seen movie scenes about this event. There's only 21 people in the fort, and they all died. But they held back literal tens of thousands, between 12 to 24,000 enemies. That these Sikh people were they were tough, man. Speaking of that movie, I gotta find the movie about this battle. So while I'm looking out that, would you care to take us into the 1900s?
1908, Canada appoints a civil service commission initiating a more equitable system for selecting civil service. Ooh, there's that word, equitable.
Yep.
Don't like that word.
Yeah, not anymore. Equitable is a dirty word in the 2020s. What else do we got?
Oh, shit. Skip it. 1909, world's first patent for synthetic rubber granted to German chemist Fritz Hoffmann.
Synthetic rubber. That's pretty big. And
1909.
later on...
Isn't that the first World's Fair? 1909?
First World's Fair.
I'm getting something there's something happened that year in World's Fairs.
Electricity?
Yeah, because they had all the light bulbs and stuff.
Yeah, that's when they demonstrated electricity and the entire park was lit
At
up.
the first World's Fair, right?
One of them.
Well, yeah, World's Fair.
Yeah. The first World's Fair was in 1791 in Prague.
Okay.
Then we have 1851, the Great Expedition of the Works of Industry in All Nations, held in London. The first era, the era of industrialization, yada yada. Then we have 1851, 1853, 62, 67. So there's been a lot of World's Fair. Cultural exchange in 1939. But yeah, during the World's Fair in 1908 or somewhere around that time, you are correct. They did demonstrate electricity as far as like a mostly open to the public technology, an affordable thing that people can know that it's coming, into their homes. So, good pull. But yeah, I was going to talk about the synthetic rubber because up until Charles Goodyear accidentally discovered vulcanization, we couldn't figure out, really a good way to make like rubber tires and stuff. They kept like degrading and everything way too quick. So, anyway, what do we got here in 1910?
1910, Gustav Mahler's Eighth Symphony, Symphony of 1,000, premieres in Munich with 1,228 musicians. That's a lot.
This reminds me of that other music thing. Didn't they have like multiple thousands of people? Like they had like
Yes.
300 wind
19,
instruments.
sorry, 1909's First World Fair, officially known as the Alaskan Yukon Pacific Expedition, was held in Seattle, Washington. One of the most notable features of the expedition was the use of electricity to power various exhibits and attractions. This included the use of electrical lights to illuminate the fairgrounds, and which is a significant technology achievement for this time.
Nice.
All right, moving on.
Yep.
What was you saying? Sorry.
No, I was just saying. Remember that other music thing that we covered that had like several thousand people involved? One of the things that had like 300 wind instruments or something ridiculous.
Yeah.
Yeah. 1910 as well. United States' first known female cop appointed, Alice Stebbles Wells, was by LAPD. All right.
Gee.
Yeah.
All right.
I mean, Los Angeles has always been, progressive, and in this case, it's a good thing. I'm all for, women being on the force if they can do the job.
If they can do the job. We shouldn't be lowering standards. Sorry. But
if somebody can do the job, I don't care if they're black, brown, white, yellow, red, maroon, freaking beige, or pumpernickel, whatever. I don't care if they're man, woman, both. I don't give a crap what somebody is as long as they can do what they need to do.
For real.
Simple.
Like, I'm not becoming a cop. I am a man, and I'm 4'10". I'm not becoming a cop. Like, some of these places are outrageous. Like, clearly out of shape people need to go too, man. Yeah, I won't get too far into it. But.
Well, I mean, like when I was a kid, in my old elementary school,
a lot of people that are police officers shouldn't be police officers. Let's just say that.
Yeah. But I mean, when I was a kid, I was in elementary school. I don't remember what grade I was in or something, but it was like after school or something, and we were out in the field, and I just saw this one person way out in the field running back and forth. So, a group of friends and I, we went over there. It was a woman in full firefighter attire, and she was I know today she was doing maneuvers with a hose. She was, carrying it, running back and forth, dropping it, leading it, practicing and everything. And I was just like, what are you doing? She's like, oh, I'm practicing to become a firefighter. Like, women can be firefighters? Yeah, of course, And looking back on that to today, she probably was able to bench me, she was serious. She was out there putting in the hustle, and I hope she got the job. I really do. That's when my eyes were open to the very prospect that a woman could be a firefighter, and I wasn't against it. I was of course shocked. But I was just like, what? When I thought about it, it was just like, it makes sense. It doesn't matter if you can do the job, get it done. All hands on deck. We need every person we can. What do we have here in 1911? I almost went over that one. Baseball. Here we go.
Future Baseball Hall of Fame pitcher duel for the first time. Boston Rustlers, Cy Young versus Christy Mathewson of the Giants. New York wins 11-2. Oh.
Ooh. That must have been a cool duel right there. Moving on up to 1912, Dutch Olympian Committee forms the NOC. All right. 1914, Yankee shortstop Roger Peckinpah, what a name, at the age of 23, became the youngest manager. Huh. 1919, Adolf Hitler joined the obscure German Workers' Party as its seventh member, agreeing not with workers' rights, but with its German nationalism and anti-Semitism. Oh. Wow. I think the last part, the anti-Semitism part, was shoehorned in. I'm not sure if they were really against the Jews yet. They were still trying to... I mean, this is 1919. This isn't even... dude, the whole reason why Hitler even got to power is because of legitimate, crap that the German nation had to suffer through after World War I. and
Yeah.
they blame the Jews on all of the financial problems and everything that they were having, all of the reparations they were, demanded to owe because of the First World War. And how can you sit there and call them anti-Semitic when they're not even going through the situations that led them to blame the Jews in the first place? I don't believe the German Workers' Party was anti-Semitic at the very beginning. They did become it, but
Yeah, they for
yeah,
sure did become.
see right here. This is what we're talking about, rewriting history. Now I may be wrong. I'm admitting that I may be wrong, but it makes no sense for them to already be anti-Semitic when they haven't even. It's not even the 20s yet. They haven't even been ordered to do the reparations yet, so they don't have a ground to complain against the Jews yet. So, anyway, 1919, the poet Gabriel D'Annunzio organized a militant nationalist group and took Fiume Rijeka for Italy. That's kind of scary. He was a poet and writer, and very much like the inventor of fascism, Benito Mussolini, he eventually took control of Italy. He made his start being an editor of a socialist newspaper. So always fear the press. You never know, what crazy people might come out of it. What do we got here in 1923?
1923, Britain takes over southern Rhodesia from British South Africa Company.
All right.
1925, George Gershwin and Ira Gershwin first collaborate musical Lady Be Good, featuring siblings Fred Astaire and Adele Astaire as a brother and sister dance team. Closes at the Liberty Theater in New York City after 330 performances.
Fred Astaire. That's a name.
Yeah.
I didn't know he had a sister, but that's cool.
In 1928, Katharine Hepburn's New York City stage debut, Night Hostess.
Oh, wow. Katharine Hepburn. Wow, she died in 2003. That's another name that, is in my mind. There's not much in her biography here, and I haven't seen any of these movies. Morning Glory,
Yeah.
Guess Who's Coming to Dinner, The Lion in Winter, On Golden Pond. Huh. All
For
right.
our time.
We have another 28 here.
1928, San Felipe, San Diego, Okeechobee hurricane makes landfall in Guadalupe, French Antilles, and as a Category 4 storm, killing 1,200 people. Additional damage and fatalities on neighboring islands of Martinique and Montserrat and Nevis.
Wow. Wow.
Yeah.
I mean, all these climate change nuts are going around here saying, oh, the hurricanes are getting stronger. Wrong. We had a Category 4 that killed over 1,000 people in 1928. So. 1930, Brooklyn catcher Al Lopez hit Major League's last recorded bounce home run. Huh. That's interesting. 1932, German government of Papen fell. The Reichstag was dissolved. And I believe, this is not when the Nazis burnt down the Reichstag and blamed the communists, but the actual government party of the Reichstag was dissolved. Like how you would dissolve a parliament, or a senate or something like that. Speaking of parliaments and senates, 1933, Dutch parliament accepted a ban on uniforms. For what? Like the military or something? Let's take a surface level scratch on this article. Sturmbataillon. What is that? SA, literally Storm Division. Oh, well, this is Stormtroopers. Well, why is it telling me about the SS? This is Nazi Germany. What? Okay, well, I'm not going to be getting what I was trying to figure out. So if anybody can tell us why the Dutch Parliament specifically accepted a ban on uniforms, let us know. 1933 as well, Leo Szilard, waiting for a red light on Southampton Row in Bloomsbury, conceived an idea of a nuclear chain reaction. Wow. So this guy took advantage of any downtime he got. You know, very much like how Albert Einstein conceived of the theory of relativity while riding a bus and thinking, what if the bus just kept picking up speed until it's at the speed of light? And then, you know, he came up with the theory of relativity. This guy came up with the idea of a nuclear chain reaction while waiting for a red to go green. Huh. Wow. And here I am over here, like, when I'm sitting there waiting for the red to go green, I'm just like, oh, did I remember to turn the stove off? Huh. Wait. What do we got here in 1934?
1934, Estonia, Latvia, and Lithuania signs Baltic Entente against USSR.
Yep, the Baltic states. Russia's always salivating at the bits to get them, and even now, actually, let's see here, Russia. Let me bring up a map here really quick, if I can. So let me bigger this really quick. So, we have here. This is Russia. Okay, we all know. We're actually. Let me take off this layer here, so that way we can see the borders. So, you know, here's Russia. Here's the border. We have Estonia, Latvia, Lithuania, the Baltic states here. Now, what a lot of people don't know is that this little area here between what is this, Poland and Lithuania. This sliver of land is actually sovereign Russian territory. So, you know, Russia is over here, and it's also over here. So Russia has a border with Poland on this area that's on the other side of Lithuania from them. And that is pretty scary. So even to this day, Russia is still trying to eat the Baltic states right here. They have them surrounded. You know, right now, as we speak, as you watch, viewer. So, 1935?
1935, millionaire Howard Hughes flies his own design H-1 racer plane and then record 352.6 miles per hour at Santa Ana, California.
Ooh! Yeah, that record has since been broken. As said here, a at then record. That's fast. Of course, Howard Hughes. And I think maybe I think this is the opening scene in the movie The Aviator, which that's another movie we gotta watch. The Aviator. Oh. What else do we got?
1938, Adolf Hitler demands self-determination for Sudeten Germans and Czech. What's sudden determination?
Self-determination, I think so. Like, you know, let's just look up the whole thing before I start surmising and talking out of my rear end, so to speak. Munich agreements, but that's something else. This is when he's demanding it. So,
That's the same thing.
I'm not sure. I'm trying to put it together in my head to figure out how to explain this. So, like, you know, after the First World War, you know, Germany was split up. You know, they were reduced in size and everything. And one of the main focuses of Hitler, you know, while he was in power and all this stuff, was reunifying the Rhineland. So the Sudetenland and everything, I believe, went to Chechnya or Czechoslovakia or whatever the heck it was back then, and then bless you.
People's political right to form its own political entity.
Essentially, yeah. So, like, you know, after he took over that land, you know, back for Germany, he's just like, hey, any native Germans, you know, you're Germans again. Like, essentially, I think. 1940, 49 people died and an additional 200 were injured when the Hercules power plant exploded. Wow. In New Jersey. Hercules. Yeah, no, the power plant blew up. That's not good.
Oh.
Huh.
Not so Herculean.
No. 1940 as well, 4 teens followed their dog down a hole near Lascaux, France, then discovered a 17,000-year-old drawings, now known as the Lascaux cave paintings. Yes.
Good doggy.
Yeah, I know, right? Sioux cave paintings, if these are the ones that I'm thinking of, they might be. They might
Yeah,
not.
they had it. They opened up to tourism, then they had to close it. 'Cause
Yeah.
it was just fucking everything up.
Yeah, well, like because the tourists, they were coming in, they were breathing, and they were oxidating all the paintings. So they made a 1-to-1 replica. Well, not a 1-to-1 exact, but like of the more notable areas, they made like a 1-to-1 replica of that cave for tourism. So the cave is off limits, but you can go and see a replica of it somewhere in that area. Which if I ever find myself in France, number one, the first place I'm going to go to is Normandy to go check out the beaches, from D-Day. But these cave paintings are in my top 5, top 10. Obviously you guys see Paris, you guys see Naples, but you guys see these paintings here, or at least the replicas and such. 1940 as well, Italian troops entered Egypt. All right. What do we got in here? 1941.
First German ship in World War II captured by U.S. ship Cusco.
All right.
1942, Free Poland and Belgium asked Pope condemn Nazi war crimes.
Well, I'm not sure if this was the same Pope, but I do have a little bit of interesting thing.
Can we just condemn war crimes?
Oh. Well, it's pretty interesting, and it's funny that I have a little Mussolini here peeking up on my screen because we will be talking. Yeah, but as I said, I'm not sure if this is the same Pope who Mussolini worked with, but Vatican City, as we know, Vatican City is a sovereign state. It's its own country and all that stuff. But how did it become its own country? Vatican has always been around, since the Roman era, and even beforehand. Like, they have thousands of years of history. But as far as a nation, they're one of the younger ones. How did they become a nation? The Pope and Benito Mussolini worked together and made it a nation. So Vatican City is a country thanks to fascism. So yeah. Anyway, 1943 here. What do we got?
Free French lands on Corsica. What? Free land? There's free land over there? I want some. I don't care if it's French. It's fine.
Oh no! Like these were the French in exile after their country got taken over by Germans. They were the Free French, and then they landed on Corsica, which was the Italian occupation of Corsica refers to the military and administrative occupation by the Kingdom of Italy on the French island of Corsica during the Second World War from November 1942 to September of 1943. After an initial period of increased control over the island, by early spring of 1943, the Maquis had begun to occupy the hinterland. In the aftermath of the armistice of Cassibile, the Italian capitulation to the Allies, the Germans evacuated Sardinia via Corsica and occupied the island with the support of Italian units who had defected to them. Italian troops under Giovanni Magli, the Maquis, and Free French forces joined forces against the Germans and liberated the island. So there you go. Corsica is in my head, the island of Corsica. I don't know why it has so much significance beyond what I just read, but it's in my head for some other reason. I don't remember what it was, though. But anyway, as I was mentioning earlier, here we go. Good old Mussolini, or bad old Mussolini, I guess. What do we got here?
Where are we at?
43, Waffen.
43. Waffen SS Scorzini frees Benito Mussolini at Grand Sasso.
Yep. So by this time, as I had mentioned, Italians had already switched sides. It said that during the whole thing I just read earlier about Italy surrendering to the Allies and capitulating and switching sides as they had done in World War I. They do in World War II. And they had already, dethroned Mussolini and everything, put him in prison. And this is when, as I mentioned a couple weeks ago during one of our shows, the Germans, the SS, tried to get him out. And then they were intercepted, and eventually they executed Mussolini because he was too dangerous to be kept alive. 1944, Noorbeek became the first liberated community in the Netherlands during World War II. All right, it begins. And while that was happening, we have the Second Quebec Conference. Franklin Delano Roosevelt, Winston Churchill, and the combined chiefs of staff met in Quebec City, Canada, to discuss Allied occupation zones, the Morgenthau Plan, U.S. Lend-Lease aid to Britain, and the role of the Royal Navy. That's a lot of stuff to discuss right there. Like, I kind of want to look up the Morgenthau Plan. I've never heard of that before. So, let's take a look at this. It was a proposal to weaken Germany following World War II by eliminating its arms industry and removing or destroying other key industries basic to military strength. So basically what they did after World War I, they wanted to do again after World War II. But then Russia had a say in it later on, and we ended up dividing Germany in half, East Germany and West Germany, and then the whole Berlin Wall thing later on during the Cold War. Anybody who knows any bit of history will know what follows. So that's interesting. 1944 as well, U.S. Army troops entered Germany for the first time. All right. So, yeah. 1946, good sir.
Court-martial convicts Henry D. Mann to 20 years in Brussels.
Huh. All right, I wonder what he did. 47?
1947, Pittsburgh's future Baseball Hall of Fame left fielder Ruff Kinner hits 2 home runs in Pirates' 4-3 win over the Boston Braves at Forbes Field. Record 8th home run in 4 games.
Huh. I was looking up this Henry DeMann guy. Here we go. DeMann was an advisor to King Leopold III and his mother, Queen Elizabeth, having lived extensively in Germany and loving the country, as he said. Throughout the 1930s in Belgium, he advocated accommodating Hitler's expansionist politics to save Belgium from the crushing fate it had previously suffered from World War I. So basically, it sounds like he was a Nazi collaborator, and that's why he was sentenced to 20 years. He was pro-bad guy, essentially.
Is that real?
Oh.
No?
What else do we got here? 1948?
1948, Indian Army invades state of Hyderabad a day after Pakistani leader Muhammad Ali Jinnah passes away.
Wow. Taking advantage of a situation. Their leader's dead. Invasion! So, but yeah, India and Pakistan are at each other's throats. India primarily is like, the various Hindu beliefs, the Sheiks, and all that stuff. And Pakistan is really, the way it was designed, it was supposed to be, all the Sheiks, all the Hindus and stuff up in the Pakistan area are supposed to move down into India, and then all the Muslims, the Arabics, the Islamists, and all that stuff in India is supposed to move up to Pakistan. Obviously, that didn't happen, but the land is there, and now those two nations have been at each other's throats since before they were even countries. So, yeah. So India taking the first swing here and try to end them. Let's see here, 1949. Why don't you take this one, and I'll bring us into the 50s.
Theodore Heuss, elected first president of the German Federal Republic, West Germany, with Konrad Adenauer, and the first prime minister.
Yep. So as I was mentioned earlier, the Russians got involved in what to do after World War II with Germany, and this is after the partition, and when half the country's leader was decided. 1950, Belgian government dismissed all communist civil servants. All right. Very smart move, Belgium. 1953, Brooklyn Dodgers clinched the National League pennant earlier than any other team, defeating Milwaukee Braves 5-2. Brooklyn finished season with record 105-49. Woo! That's impressive. Let's go Dodgers. Yeah.
That's crazy.
Yeah. My mom was a Dodgers fan, when she lived out in Brooklyn, the Brooklyn Dodgers.
Mm.
And then at some point she moved out here to California, and then they followed her. The LA Dodgers now. So, but that woman was a Dodgers fan, true blue through and through. 1954, Indians sweep the Yanks at Municipal Stadium, largest American League crowd, 86,563. Dang. 1954, White Sox 90th won their 90th game, the first time they won this many since 1920. All right. Oh, good to break a slump there. What do we got here in 1956?
Black students entered and are barred from the Clay Key Elementary School.
That's not good. But we will get vindication here in a little bit. But what else do we got?
In 1958, Jack Kilby demonstrates his first inaugurated circuit IC to his supervisor.
Integrated circuit.
Integrated circuit.
I was like, inaugurated circuit? What, did it become president? What else do we have?
In 1958, U.S. Supreme Court orders that the all-white Central High School in Little Rock, Arkansas is to integrate.
Vindication! Here we go. As I mentioned earlier, it's freaking, allow the blacks in. They're people too, Like, they need an education. They're part of the society, whether you like it or not, so might as well allow them, the ability to work with us, to better the world, make sure tomorrow doesn't become yesterday. It's not difficult. So, yeah. 1959, you got two of them.
1959, American Western series Bonanza, starring Lauren Green, Dan Blocker, and Michael Landon, premieres on NBC TV.
Bonanza. I wonder where the term that was a bonanza comes from.
1959, Luna 2, launched by the USSR, first spacecraft to impact on the moon.
Now, I want to open the door. If you want to get the ball rolling on a mini discussion about what we've relatively recently learned about the space race, because you're the one who found this, about how our government withheld satellites to gaslight the entire people into spending. You want to tell us?
There was a joint unification of several countries. There's like an actual, I can't remember where is that, but there's an actual newscast of this guy going through the details of what we're doing, which was unification of several spacefaring nations that, not spacefaring yet, but wanted to get to space. And we all collaborated to make rockets together, basically, and refine them and to the point to where they're able to launch up into space and whatnot. And Russia was chosen to go first, even though the U.S. had at least 6 satellites sitting in a garage somewhere or storage, whatever. That was just us. Who knows what other nations had as well? Because again, it was a joint collaboration.
Mm-hmm.
And then later on, we acted like, "Oh no, Sputnik! Aren't you scared? Aren't you scared? They have rocket capabilities." And they would go around asking people, like your average Joe, if they were scared, and the fake news on it wasn't working. The propaganda wasn't working on the citizens, and the only people that were really worried were the people that were invested in it. And so, yeah, that's just kind of how they tried to hype it up. It didn't work as well as they thought, but here we are years later. We have NASA, so apparently, it did work. They just forced it down his throats anyway. I think something they probably learned from now, because they don't bother to try to convince us of anything. They just do what they want to do, and you know.
Yeah. But I mean, like, uh, as you said at the beginning, like they were trying to instill fear. They were trying to like scare us um, into authorizing more money for what would
Yeah.
become NASA and everything. Which let's not forget Operation Paperclip. The majority of our space program was Nazi scientists and everything. But you know, that's a whole other topic of conversation. But instead of scaring the populace, it drove them into a frenzy of hype. Um, they had like all sorts of
I forgot about that
all
part.
sorts
Yeah.
of like Sputnik praise. They had hairstyles. To make it look like you had the antenna stuff sticking out of your head. Like there were toys, there were costumes. Like it was
Meals, desserts.
yeah. Instead of driving us into fear, they drove us into jubilee. So
Yeah, we made a fad out of it,
yeah,
so no one was scared of Sputnik.
yep.
Because you're like, oh, what? Oh, I have a
And
Sputnik burger every day. Like,
it's kind of
no,
funny.
I'm not particularly afraid of Sputnik.
Yeah, well, it's kind of funny now that I think about it. They're still trying to push that crap today because today they're saying, "Oh, back then there was fear. There was Sputnik, yada yada." So
Oh, yeah, it was their 9/11. Like,
Yeah.
No,
No, it
no,
wasn't.
it wasn't.
Yeah,
I think the fucking war was
Yeah.
their 9/11. Thank you very much.
yeah. Moving on up to 1960, John F. Kennedy stated he does not speak for the Roman Catholic Church, and neither does the Church speak for him. And yeah, like the Loon and I went and saw Reagan, and one of the conversations that he and I had, we've had this conversation before, but one of the conversations he and I had after this, after watching this movie, was like Kennedy really was under a lot of fire because he was Catholic. They were, wondering, like, if he would allow his religious beliefs to dictate his political office, in which, obviously, they did not. But, there's a legitimate concern about that. Same with, Reagan, having been an actor and everything, there was, a lot of hatred towards Reagan. Like, as there's always a lot of hatred towards any political figure. I mean, There's an example right now, some guy who's, very against China, and people, like, I don't think there's, like, been a more active, publicly hated political figure than Orange Man, I'm not entirely sure, though. But let's see here, I'm trying to configure my video because it keeps blurring out here, so give me one moment. Apply. Alright. And why can't I click that? Alright, let's do that. Moving on up to 1961, NASA civilian pilot Joseph A. Walker took the X-15 to 34,840 meters. And the X-15, was a spy plane and everything. It was that craft that they took it up on the belly of like a bomber or something, and then they dropped it up in altitude, and then it climbed up from there. 62, Washington Senator Tom Cheney struck out a record 21 Orioles in a 16-inning game. Holy crap. That's incredible. 1964, first football game at Shea Stadium. Jets defeat Denver 30-6. That's a pretty big spread right there. 64 as well, Canyonlands National Park was designated as a national park. Alright. 1964 as well, the film that started spaghetti western genre, A Fistful of Dollars, premiered, directed by Sergio Leone, starring Clint Eastwood in his first leading role. And I'm going to have to go back over that when King gets back, because I'm pretty sure he's a fan of these spaghetti western movies. And this is the first leading role for Mr. Eastwood here. No. 1966, Gemini 11th with Charles Pete Conrad and Richard F. Gordon aboard launched for 71-hour flight. All right. 1968, Albania announced it was withdrawing from the Warsaw Pact. Oh, yeah, the dissolution of the Soviet Union.
Like, slowly, piece by piece, their Iron Curtain fell. 1970, Palestinian terrorists blow up 3 hijacked airliners in Jordan, continuing to hold the passengers hostage in various undisclosed locations in Amman. Well, maybe if Israel stopped, taking their land, what's the difference between what Israel is doing to Palestine and what the white settlers did to the Native Americans? Absolutely nothing. 1970, Soviet unmanned spacecraft Luna 16 launched to the moon. To the moon! 1970 as well, supersonic airliner Concorde landed for the first time at Heathrow Airport, now known as London Heathrow, which there's 6 airports around the London Heathrow airport, area. There's 3, 4, 5, 6 airports in that area. 1970, U.S. LSD professor Timothy Leary escaped from California jail. Ooh. All right. And perfect. Now that King is back, I'm going to go back a little bit and reread this because this is something he has got to hear. 1964, the film that started the spaghetti western genre, A Fistful of Dollars, premiered, directed by Sergio Leone, starring Clint Eastwood in his first leading role. Look at that. Good old Clint Eastwood. And I haven't seen any of those movies other than Gran Turismo, right? We saw that a month or so ago.
Oh, yeah. Gran Torino.
Yeah, Gran Torino. Yeah, that was my first Clint Eastwood movie I've ever seen, I believe. So,
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Yeah, get you caught up.
Yep. Oh, there's a lot to get
Good,
caught
the
up.
bad, and the ugly is pretty good.
Now, the one I just read, literally as you were sitting down, and I'll reread it here for you, is 1970, U.S. LSD professor Timothy Leary escaped from California jail. Ooh.
Oh, no. Oh,
no. If I know a thing or two about people named Tim, they're crazy people. You got to watch out for them,
Yeah.
But what do we got here in 72?
A TV TV sitcom Maude with the longest intro song of all time. A spinoff of All in the Family, starring B. Arthur and Bill Macy, premieres on CBS.
Amelia Earhart flew a lot of airplanes.
And then there's Maude! Come on!
Hey, there it is! Hey, hey!
I've heard the long version, and holy crap, it is long.
I don't want to subjugate myself to such horror, but I believe I have to. So, what do we got here in 73 while I load this up to watch after the show?
2 bettors win largest U.S. daily double, $19,909.60.
Huh. Oh, wow. I wonder if that record has been broken. By ratio at least. The value. Let's see how much that was. 1973? Let's see here.
Then where's it? You says win largest U.S. daily double. Oh, it's daily double.
Yeah.
So that could be anything.
Well, we have seen that our source is very, very inconsistent. So I'm not sure if that record has been broken. Maybe it still stands.
Largest lottery in history. Technically.
Well, that's in the billions already. I know that for a fact. I've seen it.
Well, I mean, ever monetarily.
Let's see.
Is it billions?
3. Well, I do know for a fact.
According to inflation and all that. Blah blah blah.
In history, I don't know how to. Let's see. Lottery jackpot records. All right. Let's see here.
Technically, the largest jackpot. I don't know.
We have the largest jackpot for a single ticket, largest cash value for a single ticket. Due to technical difficulties, the November 7, 2022 draw did not take place until the morning of November 8th, and the jackpot was $2.04 billion with a B, billion dollars. $2 billion. Holy crap. I knew it was 1, but I didn't know it was 2. That's a lot of money. $2 billion. Can you imagine winning a $2 billion jackpot? Like,
I'd be pissed off that the government's getting so much, but I'd be happy.
you know what? With the amount of money you're winning, you can very well go start your own government. Like, you know? Holy crap. That was November 7th, 2022. That was the Powerball out here in California. Wow. Wow. That's crazy. But let's see here. Well, this isn't telling me. I'm not going to figure out the monetary value of that, so I'm just going to move this over here. What do we got here in 1974?
A coup overthrows Ethiopian Emperor Haile Selassie on Ethiopia's National Day.
Huh. What a great time to do that. Happy National Day! You're no longer in charge.
Bye.
Yep.
1974, Jeff Skunk Baxter joins Doobie Brothers.
Hey, the Doobie Brothers gone, you know? Like,
All right.
yeah.
1975, Pink Floyd releases their 9th album, Wish You Were Here.
Ooh. Pink Floyd, that's a good group right there.
Oh, yeah.
You know...
Also, 1976, Seattle Seahawks play first regular season game, St. Louis 30, Seattle's 24. What was that?
I was going to say, Dark Side of the Moon, that's Pink Floyd, right?
Yeah.
And there's this whole thing that if you play Dark Side of the Moon, in the like if you start it exact same time with the movie Paul Blart Mall Cop, the entire album is a perfect soundtrack, and it goes step for step with the entire movie, and it is theorized that that's intentional, because they of course have tracks of Dark Side of the Moon in the movie, but where the tracks play, it's a 1-to-1 with the actual album too. It's really wild. Like, actually, hold on a second. Dark Side of the Moon.
I've heard of that with Wizard of Oz.
Paul Blart's Side of the Mall. There's a whole video here. I'll actually add this into the underbar section. But I'd like to watch this after the show as well, because it's 11 minutes long. Let's see here. Blart's Side of the Moon. It's a very interesting theory, and I would go so far as to not even say it's a theory, it's a fact, because it's there, it's tangible, Yeah. But tell me more about this Wizard of Oz thing.
I just say it lines up with story or something. I don't know.
With what story?
Dark Side of the Moon story.
Oh.
The lyrics.
Well, I'm going to have to look more into that, too. Moving on up here, in 1977, anti-apartheid activist Steve Biko died in police custody from his injuries after being beaten and tortured by police. We spoke about that a while ago, I believe, when he got arrested. And yeah, like, he was against apartheid, and he lost his life over it. He wanted the blacks, to have rights, and they killed him. That's there's not even a word for how uncool that is. That's disgusting. 1978, situation comedy Taxi premiered on ABC television, starring Judd Hirsch, Jeff Conaway, Danny DeVito, Tony Danza, Mary Lou Henner, and Andy Kaufman. And yeah, I remember I was watching, I never watched, Taxi, the show, off and on and stuff, but every now and then it's on TV, and I remember the character Danny DeVito played, he was a scary dispatcher, everybody feared him and everything, and I had always only seen him behind, that counter, and then, he got super pissed off, and he opened the door, oh god, he's coming out, and out comes this little leprechaun, and I'm like, wait, what? I'm supposed to be scared of that? Yeah, he'll probably bite my feet off, but, other than that, I'll be fine. That was a great moment in cinema, or in television history. The revelation that this big boss was actually 3 foot nothing, or however his height is. How tall is Danny DeVito? Do you know his by off the top?
I'm pretty sure it's 4'10".
Danny.
Or no, wait. Is it? Oh wait. Isn't it 5-3?
Yeah, you're 4'10". You're
It
right.
might be.
4'10". You got it. Yeah, you're right.
Yeah, 4'10's my height. I thought it might have been 5'3 because of
Uh,
the whole Wolverine joke.
yeah.
Wolverine 5'3 in the comics.
Well, you know, like, people discount short people way too much. Like, short people are meaner because they're closer to hell, and you got to be wary of that. You know,
Yeah.
like, they'll take you out faster than you know. So, you know, be nice to the shorties. What do we got here? 1978, we got that. 1979, the Boston Red Sox, Carl Yastrzemski got his 3,000th hit off New York Yankee Jim Beattie. Wow. That's a lot of hits there. 1979. We have 3 more 79s. Perfect if you'd like to take them.
Boston Red Sox, Carl Yastrzemski gets his 3,000th hit on New York Yankee Jim Beattie.
All right.
Also in 79, Hurricane Frederick hits Mobile, Alabama. 5 died, $23 million in damages.
Ooh. That's a lot.
We got 4 here. Indiana Pacers cut Indiana Pacers cut Ann Myers, first woman on NBA club.
Oh, wow. So, like, this is when they cut her, but she still made the team. Like, you know, this is, like, I guess the birth of the WNBA, technically. Like, she was a W in the NBA. So, I don't know.
I don't know much about it at all.
Yeah.
Can't tell you. Indonesia is hit with an earthquake that measures 8.1 on the Richter scale. That's really high.
Yeah. Are those red vines?
No Twizzlers.
Oh, okay. I was going to say, if those are red vines, you better find some way to send some to me right now, because those were my mom's favorite candy, and that looks so good. Huh.
They're really fresh, too. So not often you get fresh candy.
Yeah. I like Twizzlers because you can pull them apart like string cheese, you know? Like, you can use them as garnish on a more elaborate dessert. Or you can just eat them raw, you know? 1981, the animated cartoon series The Smurfs by Hanna-Barbera was first broadcast in North America. All right. Yeah.
It's a good year.
Yeah, it was. A very good year. 1981 as well. Springbok Tour of New Zealand. All hell breaks loose as anti-tour supporters fight police and planes flower bomb the deciding third match, won by the All Blacks 25-22. Wait, what is that flower bomb? I remember looking this up and distinctly.
Oh my god.
Yeah, like they.
I threw flour at black people.
Well, no. Like
Right?
Well, let's see.
That's what I'm imagining. Flour bomb would take a handful of flour and throw it at a black person.
Well.
Because we're fucking racist assholes.
I wasn't thinking that. I was thinking that they loaded the bomb bays with a bunch of, like, daisies or something, you know, like garden flowers, not cooking flour. But, let's see, 1981, flour bomb. It is flour, so it is the cake flour. So you're right, flour.
F-L-O-U-R.
Yeah. So, wow,
paper bag, small, thin paper bag. That it works like a water balloon, except there's flour in there.
Wow, so they were whitewashing a bunch of black people. That is
Literally.
disgusting. Wow. Holy crap.
That's fucked up.
That is. Well, I am having a sneezing attack, so would you please take the...
God damn it. 1981 Red Sox rookie Bob Ojeda no hits Yankees for 8 innings before the Rick Sharon and Dave Winchester lead off the ninth with back-to-back doubles.
Ooh. All right. '83.
Had my own little coughing fit there.
Yeah. 1983, Albert Rizzo tread water at sea for 108 hours and 9 minutes. What? Like,
Wow.
just treading water, like in the ocean with the currents, like with the waves, and
How do you stay awake for 108 hours?
I don't know. Like, once again, it has to be like there's a
By
lot
treading water.
Yeah.
Oh my god.
That was a bad joke. that was below me, and that's saying something. But yeah, there must have been, as there usually is, a lot of times for breaks, and rest and something. I mean, but then again, I just saw, during one of Maud Tricka's videos, there's some experiment where they put rats into a water-filled glass container, and it treaded water for 6 minutes or something, and it was showing signs of giving up. And then the humans, took it out and everything. And then they put it back in, not immediately, but I don't know the allotted time, but they put it back in. And then it went on to tread water for 16 hours. Because the aspect of us taking it out of the water, because it was going to give up initially, but it got a new lease on life. We humans gave those rats hope. And that hope, that little bit, was just enough to keep them treading for 16 hours. From 6 minutes to 16 hours. Hope is a powerful thing. Never lose it, people. The world around you may seem hopeless and everything. Well, you are not hopeless. Whoever's watching this, me, King over here, the Loon, we are all our own worlds within this world, and as long as we keep going, everything keeps going. Don't lose hope. So, what else we got here in 1983? Security?
Security.
We had Albert Rizzo and then security in '83.
1883, Albert Rizzo. We got 1870 security guard Victor Jurina robs West Hatford Company of $7 million.
Whoa. Huh.
How did he get away?
Well, obviously not. We know about it. We know who did it. I mean, he might have gotten away. At least we know who did it. Victor Manuel Garina. Let's see here. He's a fugitive wanted by the FBI in September. White Eagle armed robbery. So it was an armed robbery as Wells Fargo employee and a member. So wow, he was a member of the Wells Fargo. He robbed Wells Fargo. $7 million. About $18 million equivalent value as of May of 2021. It was the largest cash robbery in U.S. history at that time. So,
April 10th.
Where are you seeing that?
Up a little bit. Right there. May April 11th, 2010. Removed from the list on 2007 after 25 years, 10 months, 27 days. There were no leads for many years, and Webb was presumed dead. Jerna was removed from the list on December 16th after 2 years. Is believed to be so they haven't caught him.
No, they haven't caught him.
Like that.
So yeah, they know who he was. So he was not caught, and if he is alive, he's believed to be in Cuba. So.
Oh, yeah. $1 million, everybody. All our Cuban fans out there.
Yeah,
all our Cuban fans out there.
Anybody out there watching in Cuba, if you see this man, tell the U.S. government, because you might have a cool million waiting for you. So, but yeah, take that with a grain of salt, though. I don't even trust my government. So, what else do we got here? 83.
1983, USSR vetoes UN resolution deploring its shooting down of a Korean plane.
Yes, this This was we've covered this. This was Air Korea. They strayed into Soviet Air Force air coverage or whatever, their air place,
Mhm.
and then they got shot down. This event was once again in the Reagan movie, and this was a major thing. We almost started World War III over this. Like there was discussion about launching nukes and all that stuff, because it's just like, well, if the Soviets are just going to start shooting down passenger airliners left and right, what are we going to do to make them stop? Like, oh. 1984,
Yeah,
Ethiopia forms Socialist Republic. Uh-oh. That's not good. Ethiopia, what are you doing? 84 as well. New York Mets Dwight Gooden set rookie strikeout record at 251. All right. 1985, flight readiness, firing of Atlantis's main engines, 20 seconds. I don't know why that's in there. This is just testing the space shuttle or something. So I'm just going to get that out of there. 1986, off of main source, 240.49 million shares were traded in the New York Stock Exchange on that day. That's a lot. Like that's a lot of 240.49 million shares in one day traded. Like, that is crazy.
I don't know. Is it?
I don't know. It sounds like it. Like
I
I
don't know.
mean, like,
I don't know enough about stocks.
yeah. Well, I mean, you know what a share is.
Actually,
You know what a
no more.
stock is, right?
Yeah.
Now, like, one
Yeah.
stock being traded to another. Now do that 240.49 million times within, what, 4 hours? How long is the stock exchange even open? Like, they're only open for like not that long for trading. So that's pretty crazy. You've seen the movie not Coming to America.
Yes.
Trading Places.
Yes.
Yeah.
I know what you're talking about. Yeah.
So that scene. What else do we got here in '86? MLB.
Minnesota Twins fire manager Ray Miller and replace him with coach Tom Kelly.
Huh. All right.
1986, U.S. professor Joseph CCPO is kidnapped and held hostage in Beirut.
Beirut.
Beirut. God damn it! I knew I would have got it eventually.
Yeah.
But thank you.
Beirut, I believe, is in Lebanon. Or
Am I? Yeah.
yeah. So that's 1987, another great year.
Ethiopia adopts constitution. All right.
Wow.
Sweet. 1987, Vince Coleman steals his 100 base for third straight year.
Impressive.
Nice.
Yeah. 1988, first NFL regular season game played in Phoenix. Cowboys defeated Cardinals. All right. 88 as well. Gilbert, strongest hurricane ever at 160 miles per hour, devastated Jamaica. Like, that has to be... Like, 160 ain't nothing to laugh at, but, like, it has to be Jamaica, Cardinals. It has to be Jamaica's record or strongest ever hurricane. I completely misspelled that. There we go. List of most intense tropical cyclones. Okay. North Atlantic Ocean, Cuba, 1924, 270 miles per hour, 164 miles per hour, so 270 kilometers per hour, 165, 175, 185. So yeah, this 160 miles per hour now, depending, because there's cyclones, there's hurricanes, there's tropical storms, there's a hierarchy. So I'm taking that this was the strongest hurricane ever at this time, because even before then, there's the one in Cuba, Category 5, 175 miles per hour. That's 15 miles per hour more than this, so I'm not sure. I don't know. Anyway, 1990, the United States, United Kingdom, France, the Union of Soviet Socialist Republics, East and West Germany, all unanimously signed agreements allowing the two Germanys to merge. So, reunification of Germany. That's really big right there. Once again, like another scene that was in the Reagan movie, Mr. Gorbachev, tear down this wall. Tear it down. Reagan smash. Reagan sleepy.
Yeah.
What do we got in 91? Oh,
Nolan Ryan's 4-3 victory over Twins and his 312th career win.
Nolan Ryan, the fastball.
1992, Mae Jemison became the first black U.S. citizen woman to go to space aboard Endeavour STS-47.
That's awesome. And, like, I know that's worded weird. On the source, it calls them the first African-American woman, but, I mean, they're only saying that because of the color of her skin. They're really trying to segregate her for whatever reason, like, as they always
She's
do.
an American woman.
Yeah, she's a
Stop
U.S.
it.
citizen. What does it matter, the color of her skin?
She's never been to Africa.
Yeah.
Stop it.
I mean,
Stop it.
she's descended from Africa, but so am I, so are you, so is, King here, so is everybody, according to genealogy studies. Now, granted, there's that thing coming out that they believe there's some other lineage that started in Europe, but as for now, the mainstream ideology is that we all, to some degree, came out of Africa. Number one. Number two, if you really want to, use appropriate terms, calling a black person African American is incredibly invalid because Elon Musk is African American. He has a citizenship in South Africa, citizenship in the United States. He's African American and he's whiter than me. African American is a governmental term, not an ethnicity term. So that's why it's worded weird, because I can't think of any other. But still, congratulations towards Mae Jemison. Let's not besmirch this event. This is a great thing towards her, and what she represents. If you want to put her as a representative, I view her as just another human. But if somebody wants to, validate the color of her skin as something, go for it. But I'm not going to care. Anyway, what else do we have in 1993? Or 92, sorry.
1992, Stefan Edberg beats Michael Change 6-7, 7-5, 7-6, 5-7, 6-4, and longest match in U.S. Open history, 5 hours, 26 minutes at the time eclipse in 2024.
So recently.
Wow.
Yeah. 5.5 hours of watching tennis.
Tennis.
Like,
Ugh.
Man,
Ugh.
I would rather watch cricket,
Maybe if there's two young women, running across the thing for 5 hours.
Yeah, well, then you get a little bit of show.
Maybe.
So, In 1993, Paul Molitor, at the age of 37, was the oldest to reach 100 RBIs, running bats in innings, for the first time in career. Awesome. That's cool. 94, Frank Eugene Corder crashed a Cessna plane into the south lawn of the White House, removing himself from this earth.
Whoops.
Yeah, I think he was aiming for the building, but thankfully he fell short. But yeah, wouldn't have been the first time. Wouldn't have been the last, I believe. Remember when that guy landed a helicopter on the White House lawn and all that stuff? Oh. What do we got here in 95?
Burlesque military shoots down a hydrogen balloon, killing 2 American pilots.
What the hell are you doing, Belarus? I mean, what were we doing? Were we spying on them? Like, why would we do so with a balloon in 95?
I don't know. Why were we in Belarus with a hydrogen balloon?
Yeah. Well, this just reminds me about why the hell was a Chinese balloon allowed to, like, basically drag its nuts all over our entire country?
Yeah.
Like, oh. What else do we got?
1995, INXS. Michael Hutchins pleads guilty to punching a photographer.
Well, I can't blame them. Those paparazzi really get up in your business, Like, they gotta learn personal space. Like, I gotta tell you, right now, if I become famous, if you become famous, if something happens and and I start getting cameras shoved in my face, you know, I'm gonna always wear like a freaking armored glove because I will be punching cameras into people's faces constantly. Get
I
out
feel
of
threatened
me.
punch.
Yeah.
I feel threatened punch.
No, seriously, I will become known as the next celebrity. You know, like the quote unquote second Michael Jackson, so to speak, because I will always have a glove on my hand, but it won't be like, you know, a sparkly one. It will be a freaking gauntlet of an armor, you know, and I will be punching cameras. So, you know. 97.
UN passes a resolution rallying Iraq to reach the 2.14 billion oil sales limit under its Oil for Food program.
Huh. You know, let me look up this Oil for Food program here really quick. And while I'm doing that, I probably should restart the music. There we go. All right. So, Oil for Food program. It was established by the United Nations in 95 under the UN Secretary Council Resolution 986 to allow Iraq to sell oil on the world market in exchange for food, medicine, and other humanitarian needs for ordinary Iraqi citizens without allowing Iraq to boost its military capabilities. So instead of buying it with cash, we buy it for... I'd hope for an equal value of, you know, food and supplies and all that stuff. Like, you know, it's a way to force Saddam Hussein, you know, to actually do what he's supposed to do and help his nation. So, 1999, Farm Aid 12 was held in Bristow, Virginia. Performers included Willie Nelson, Neil Young, John Mellencamp, Dave Matthews Band, Susan Tedeschi, Keb' Dana Carter, and Bare Naked Ladies. All right, that's a heck of a lineup right there. 1999 as well, Indonesia announced it will allow international peacekeepers into East Timor. All right, good. You know, like, why not? You know, let people do things. Moving on up into the year 2000, Holland and the Netherlands passed a law allowing same-gender marriage, adoption, and divorce. All right, cool. You know, and what is it that you say, King?
Well, if they want to be miserable with each other, let them go ahead and be miserable with each other.
Exactly. What do we have in 2001? It was not a space odyssey.
2001, first Ansett Australia's first commercial interstate airliner collapses due to its increased strain on the international airline industry, leaving 1,000 people unemployed.
I think you missed a zero.
Oh, 10,000 people unemployed. Holy cow.
Woo! 1,000 is bad enough, but 10,000, holy shit. Like, yikes. What else do we have?
2001, Article 5 of the NATO agreement is invoked for the first time and only time in response to September 11, 2001 attacks on the United States of America.
Yep. And actually, real quick, and I know yesterday was September 11th, but I do have a 23-year-old newspaper. I'm going to go grab it while you talk about Fallujah, so I'll be right back.
2003, in Fallujah, U.S. forces mistakenly shoot and kill Iraqi police officer. Oh boy, that's not good. 2003, United Nations lifts sanctions against Libya after it agrees to accept responsibility and compensate the families of the victims in the 1988 bombing of Pan Am Flight 103.
I have here Wednesday, September 12, 2001, the Los Angeles Times. Does this picture look familiar?
Yeah.
Yep. And it's a full newspaper too. It's the whole thing. Saved it. Oh yeah, and on the back, they have this guy here, like covered in dust, all that stuff. Oh, crazy times, man. And we were having this conversation. Like, was it you or was it somebody else who has, like, basically your entire archive newspapers. Or I guess that was Hollywood. I'm not sure. Anyway, where are we at?
2004, Detroit Lions beat the Chicago Bears 10-16 at Soldier Field to snap their NFL record 24-game road losing streak.
All right. Well, no, to snap. So this was the end of it, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So not womp womp, like whoop whoop. So. 2005, Hong Kong Disneyland opened in Penny's Bay, Lantau Island, Hong Kong. All right. And we also have Israel completed its withdrawals of all troops and settlers from the Gaza Strip after repeated orders by the UN. And actually, they changed it. This was different yesterday. So, in 2005, Israel completes its unilateral disengagement from the Gaza Strip after dismantling Israeli settlements and withdrawing its soldiers only after repeated orders by the UN. Yeah, like, why would they change that? Like, that's literally what it said yesterday. Damn leftists always trying to cover for freaking evil conquerors nations. 2005, Mark Messier announced on ESPN Radio that he will retire from the NHL. Ah, Messier. NHL legend. Man, we have a lot of 2005s going on. Today was busy, 2005. The bodies of more than 40 patients were discovered in a flooded hospital in New Orleans. Oh, yeah, that has to be after Katrina, right? Like, yeah. I remember that was a disaster. Some of my family, my birth mother, my half-brother, they lived in New Orleans when that hit. They got hit by Katrina. They lived it. I have family who went through that. Like, that's wild. And they're still, 20 some odd years later, they're still, recovering financially. Like, they really got hit. Then we also have the Red Green Coalition, led by Jens Stoltenberg, won the Norwegian parliamentary election, taking 87 of 169 seats in the parliament. Remember, fellas, if she doesn't find you handsome, at least make yourself handy. You know, the Red Green Coalition, the Red Green Show.
Yeah.
Yeah. I love that guy. What do we have in 2007?
Former Philippine President John Estrada is convicted of the crime of plunder.
Plunder? What is this, a Pirate of the Caribbean? Like, how do you get convicted of plunder in 2007? What? That's hilarious. But yeah, he was a president of the Philippines, so good. You know, like, in corruption. Here we go. This guy, rest in peace.
Shinzo Abe announces his intention to resign as Prime Minister of Japan.
Yep. Shinzo Abe, you remember he was the guy who got assassinated a year or so ago? Like, it was July 8th, I believe. Yeah. Like, you've seen Demolition Ranch, right? Like, or Brandon Herrera, like one of these gun YouTubers made a replica of, like, the homemade gun that the guy used to kill Shinzo Abe. And, you know, that was taken down, of course, because, you know, YouTube doesn't want people knowing history and all that stuff. So, 2009, South Africa claimed the third Tri-Nations Rugby Series with 32-29 win over defending champions New Zealand in Hamilton. Stein Bros dominated with the boots. Morn kicked 2 penalties, 2 conversions, and dropped a goal. Francois, 3 penalties. All right. 2009, the 9/12 Project organized multiple marches and demonstrations across the U.S. to protest government spending. Yeah. You know, like, it's a little strange how, you know, just 10 years ago we had, you know, things like Occupy Wall Street, and we got a little close to the elitists, and then they did their thing, and now look at where we're at. Like, we almost had them, you know, but we can get them next time. 2009 as well, U.S. Open Women's Tennis, Belgian Kim Clijsters became the first unseeded player and wild card to win the tournament, defeated Caroline Wozniacki of Denmark 7-5, 6-3. Oh. 2012 is the year it was supposed to all end. What do we have?
2012, Apple unveils its new iPhone 5 and iOS 6.
Yep. There was one right before that, though.
314 people killed in factory fire in Karachi and Lahore, Pakistan.
Whoa. 314. I remember, I think I remember this, or maybe I'm thinking about a different thing. I'm for sure thinking about a different thing, but I think this is the one where they locked all the doors to keep the employees in, before the fire happened, because they didn't want people, like, leaving. And when the fire happened, whoever was in charge of the doors just didn't go around and open them, and they just were locked in and they got burned. Like, yeah. That's happened many times. So maybe that did happen there. But anyway, what else happened? Excavators? Oh, this one's hilarious.
Excavators announced that they may have found the remains of King Richard III of England under a car park in Leicester.
And they did. It was confirmed that, in modern day, what was a parking lot essentially, it was built over unknowingly because it was, just because the ruins were so far down under the earth, but where this King Richard the Third and various other people were buried in and under the church. That was very common. If you go to any church in Europe, chances are there's people they're buried in the they're buried in the floor.
That's so wild.
Yeah. So, but they did, I kept an eye on this, and I can personally confirm that they did find the body, the skeletal remains of King Richard III under a car park. So, that's crazy. Oh, we got another Apple one here.
2015.
17.
17. 2017, Apple unveils premium iPhone 10 costing $999 along with iPhone 8.
Dude, isn't the PS5 like $3,000 or something crazy? Like
800, I think it was.
Oh, that's still ridiculous.
It's still ridiculous when you just go out and buy a computer for basically that price, and have
a lot more versatility.
If it were me, I would go buy a computer around for that price, but just make sure your motherboard is upgradable. Buy the low end RAM and eventually work your way up to higher RAM, and pretty soon that computer will fucking just be way better than any PlayStation you can hope to buy.
Yeah. Because all these consoles and all these mobile devices and everything, they have very limited or focused uses. With a computer, you can do everything. Like, I can sit here, I can game, I can write my books, I can do shows on the internet.
I mean, there's fucking, I don't know if PlayStation has it, but Xbox has a PC Game Pass. So I mean,
because Xbox is owned by Microsoft, and
why even get? I can get the same deals you guys can get.
Yeah.
Playing the Microsoft at least.
Yeah. So.
Xbox. But yeah. Anyways, get it rolling here. See, 2017, Hope Hicks appointed permanent White House communications director after working in intern role. Wow.
That's pretty cool.
That's pretty cool.
I don't know what to think about her shirt. Her shoulders look weird. Like.
Those are just puffy.
Yeah. Like almost as weird as like those shoulders from the debate last night. Like like.
Oh yeah.
Like, it's just like
the one debater.
Like that lady was dressed in a box. I swear. She's
like, yes, put steel shoulder pads in. They're like, you really don't want to put steel shoulder pads in. Like, okay, fine.
Yeah. 2017 as well, Lady Gaga confirmed her battle with chronic illness fibromyalgia. Well, I mean, you sold your soul to the devil, you get what you sow. It sucks, but, you get what's coming to you. You freaking Illuminati shill. 2017 as well, a monster fatberg, 250 meters long, weighing 130 tons, the size of 11 buses, found in sewers under East London. Do you remember what a fatberg is?
I was just gonna ask you that.
So essentially, and this is really, really disgusting. So if anybody has weak
Oh, no.
constitutions, yeah. Essentially, in sewers, all right. Now, like
Oh, okay. Go
yeah,
ahead.
all all the because when you void yourself into the toilet, number one, number two, and all that stuff, there's there's a certain amount of fat that's coming out of your body. There's a certain amount of this. Poop is brown because it's all made of dead blood cells for the most part. That's why it gets its color. But all of that starts congealing and forming, and all the fat, starts connecting together, and then they form what's called fatbergs. Now, it's not purely only fat because, of course, other debris and stuff starts getting into it. But can you imagine a giant mass of just fat, gelatinous goo the size of 11 buses weighing 130 tons under your feet, just sitting there blocking up sewers? Oh my god! Like, But hey, gotta hand it to Mike Rowe.
We don't pay these people enough, man.
We don't. No, like
I don't care if they're millionaires. We don't pay them enough.
yeah.
Which they're probably not. Oh,
Well, I mean, like
we don't pay enough to these people that clean up our messes, man.
there's
I'll
an
tell you what.
actual industry because think about it. How do you remove a fatberg? You don't want to be in front of it because if you remove it, then everything behind it is going to come at you. So what do people do? They get into diving suits and they dive into liquid shit and they come at it from the back. Literal, head to toe, you're in diving suits, but you're diving into literally an ocean of human waste. Fuck that.
Yeah.
So.
Let's move on.
Yeah, 2018, European Parliament voted to pursue disciplinary action against Hungary for anti-democratic actions. First ever of such a vote. Awesome. So, yeah. 2018 as well, more than 3,600 children were reported abused by Catholic priests in Germany between the years of 1946 through 2014 in a leaked report. Stereotypes exist for a reason. So, 2018 as well. Oldest known human drawing discovered a hashtag-like abstract drawing with red ochre, 73,000 years old, in Blombos Cave, South Africa, published in Nature.
What is that?
Well, let's see here.
What does it look like?
Let's see, images. Let's see if I can. Oh, here it is. Yeah. So this right here.
Huh.
So yeah, it's not hashtag, it's pound sign, but yeah, it's like what you would do with a graph paper in elementary school. You just start drawing lines because you're bored, This is the first earliest discovered drawing of humans. That's awesome. It's just a bunch of triangles. Wait a minute, would this be Illuminati propaganda? It's a bunch of triangles. What do we got here in 2021, just 3 years ago?
2021, Paris's Arc de Triomphe covered in fabric in tribute to the late artist Christelle, his unfilled project.
Huh, wonder what that looked like. Let's see here. Oh, wow. That looks so cool. They made the Arc de Triomphe look like a low render asset. Look at that. Like it looks like an unfinished model for a video game. That looks awesome.
That was so cool.
Yeah. What else do we got?
Taliban says women must study in gender segregated classrooms in Afghanistan.
Hey, it's segregated, but it's a step forward. It used to be that women never got any education beyond the age of 12 or something like that. So,
something like that.
I mean, they're still not up to our par, but hey, at least they're coming. We got to give credit where credit is due. There's still a lot of work for them, yes, but at least they're coming. So, what else? Ooh.
World's largest container ship, the Ever Ace, 400 meters long, carrying 23,992 containers, arrives in Flextoll on its maiden voyage.
You probably got that confused with the Evergrande or Evergreen or
I
whatever.
know,
Yeah. Yeah, I heard your ooh, and I'm like, oh, is he thinking about the Suez issue?
I thought, yeah, it's too early.
No. It's about that time. Hey, hold on a second. Let's see.
It was in like 2022.
Block de Suez. Let's see here. 2021. March. So it's
March.
already happened.
So yeah, it's coming up.
No, it's already happened.
Already happened.
Yeah.
They probably didn't even list it.
Oh, it's there somewhere. Like, that was back in March. January, February, March. That was the third month. That was a while ago. We're all the way in September now. But, we'll catch it next year. 2021, Lee Jung-jae, the star of Squid Game, was the first person from a foreign language show to win an Emmy for Best Actor in a Drama. Wow. Squid Games.
Fucking amazing.
Yeah.
That whole, it's amazing. Go watch it if you have it.
The whole series?
Yeah, it's not that long. I think
Yeah.
it's like 12 episodes.
Well, with how things are playing out, Squid Games is starting to look more like a documentary of Mr. Beast. With how how he tortured his people and all that.
I don't know if you've seen Squid Games, but yes.
Yeah. 2022.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
People being forced to pretty much, you're not being forced, but you are being forced.
Yeah.
Kind of like, oh, you want to eat tomorrow?
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah. There's not a gun to your head, but if you want food, yeah. Oh, you almost had it. Oh, that commercial for whatever.
It was good.
Yeah. 2022, modern slavery, defined as forced labor and forced marriages, has increased by 10 million to 50 million people in the last 5 years, according to the UN's International Labor Organization. What?
China.
Wow. Yeah, well, of
Definitely
course,
one
like
of them.
Uyghurs, Tibetans, Christians, all that stuff, but like, wow. In 5 years, it went from 10 to 50 million people. Wow. That's incredible. We also have an outbreak of fighting between Armenia and Azerbaijan, killed about 100 soldiers. Yeah, well, squabbles, stuff. And we also have 2022, Queen Elizabeth II's coffin, a day we never thought we'd ever see. Made a ceremonial procession down the Royal Mile in Edinburgh from the Palace of Holyrood House to St. Giles' Cathedral, where 20,000 people queued to pay their respects. I still believe that she killed Betty White in a Highlander style duel. I'm kind of joking and kind of not at the same time. Like, the Queen and Betty White were vying for who's the oldest, because Betty White was born as well as the Queen was born before the invention of sliced bread. So. But anyway, we have 3 2023s. They're all yours, good sir.
U.S. rocker Bruce Springsteen, 73, postponed remaining 8 shows of his summer tour under doctor's advice to treat peptic ulcer disease.
Oh, that's not good.
That's not good.
You gotta take care of yourself, man. That sounds nasty. Peptic ulcer
Yeah, stop
disease?
drinking, man.
Yeah.
Drinking will do that to you.
Yeah.
2023 North Korean leader Kim Jong-un arrives in Russia on board his armored train to meet with President Vladimir Putin.
Yeah, I saw a video. Kim Jong-un here does not fly planes. Like, he's never set foot in a plane.
He refuses it.
Yeah. So you know this. You've probably seen this video too. He always uses his train.
Yeah.
Yeah. And last but not least, what do we have here? I didn't even know this happened.
U.S. House Speaker Kevin McCarthy opens an impeachment inquiry into President Joe Biden without a formal House vote, amid some Republicans' calls to remove McCarthy from leadership. Well, wait.
Yeah.
What?
Yeah.
The Republicans tried to get him
Get
removed
Biden.
because
Yeah.
he was trying to get rid of Biden.
Yeah.
Who were these Republicans? So I know.
It's the rhinos, I believe, and
Who-
actually,
Well,
Jacob.
yeah, who are the rhinos?
Yeah, well, Jacob Peets knows a whole lot. He's the one who really informed, not of this specific event, but he's the one who told me about Kevin McCarthy, not to be confused with McCarthy of back in the day with McCarthyism. This is a different McCarthy, but he was trying to make moves against the Democrats and everything, and the rhinos were working with the Democrats against him simply because he's a Trump supporter. Like, it's absolute madness, our government. Like, yeah, I agree.
I don't know how you can see how our government's like this much against one person. Obviously, like it's not the government, it's the media. All these people that have done nothing but lie to us over the fucking years, right?
Yeah,
I absolutely hate this dude,
yeah.
and how I don't understand how we're so split on who to vote for. I don't understand people anymore.
It's absolute
I'm
madness.
sorry.
Like,
I won't get any farther into that, but I don't understand you people at all.
I'm just gonna say, like, as a historian, there's no other time in my knowledge that any country on the history of this earth has ever been this crazy. You know, like, because it's not just policies; it's how people are, it's how the economy is, it's how the world is. Like, everything has just gone to shit in a handbasket in a way that's not even comprehensible. We're trying to figure stuff out that happened 10 years ago, and stuff has been happening and still continues to happen that we're not even caught up with. You know? Like right here. Neither of us didn't even know that this event even existed. When I first saw this doing research and writing last night, I'm like, wait, how come I didn't know about this? There's an impeachment attempt against Biden? Why didn't it, what the hell? So, once again, that'll conclude the show. Once again, please check the underbar in the description below for any links you may be interested in. So much history has and continues to be made on a daily basis. We can only bring you a portion. Please check our sources, to look into stuff that, we didn't cover today. For your dose of Passive Events Daily, we stream every day at 11 in the morning Pacific time, or at least try to. Once again, I'm sorry we've been off for almost 2 weeks. We got hit with a massive heat wave, and it has been for a good 4 or 5 some odd days, we are in the hundreds, 110s. We have 3 major fires going on around here. The Mount Santiago telecommunications facility has burnt down, so, things have not been going good out here. But anyway, yeah, so catch us, live, 12 noon Mountain, 1 Central, 2 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, respectively. We do have other shows from history to news, movie reactions and reviews, video memes, Omni Kitchen, and everything else between on Talk Show. Check the underbar. For all of you and all of us, I am Xander.
King's Refuge.
And you are you, and until you catch us next time, whenever that is, wherever that is, don't forget to look right and left at every intersection, rate 5 thumbs, and subscribe. Toodles!
Deuces.
I'm streaming, and...
Alright. Thanks everybody for staying tuned.